What's going on, guys? It is Maddie from DCLblogger.com, finally back from Turkey, so I'm ready to smash out some content. In this video, I wanted to speak particularly to new investors because I'm realizing that there is a lot of new investors into Decentraland wondering why the hell parcels are going for thousands of dollars, these seemingly valueless pixels on the screen that people just can't understand why people are buying these. And are people actually buying these parcels, land parcels? What can you do with them, and why are they worth that much? I'm going to try and explain this from both an investor's point of view, because I am an investor into Decentraland. I have a lot of MANA token, I have a lot of land, and also from a critic's point of view, what are the risks involved in getting into Decentraland and this brave new world? What is it trying to pioneer, and the hurdles that it's going to see in the coming years of it trying to build this world. So first of all, it's important to understand a little bit about the history of Decentraland. Decentraland started sometime last year. There was an ICO for the MANA token back when this web page even existed, like decentraland.org existed, but the marketplace, like this place here where you can browse and see lands and values of lands, didn't exist. So all you were doing back then was just buying into the MANA token, and it was said the idea or the concept was brought out to potential investors that there's going to be a world where you can buy land and it's going to be a virtual reality world. And that ICO kind of sold out really, really quick. So there was obviously a lot of interest into this idea. And then sometime in January or December, sometime in December last year, the later part of last year, there was an initial land sale for the first city or world that Decentraland created. So you can go to this map by going to decentraland.org and then clicking on the marketplace button on the top right corner. It'll take you to this area here with these three tabs, and you can check out the marketplace where people are listing their lands. You can check out the whole map of the world. You can check out your own land, so your portfolio, etc., etc. The ones in red, they are my land and they are for sale. The ones that are light gray, like these ones over here, so you got dark gray, then you got light gray. The ones that are light gray are owned by someone, so they may not have it for sale. So light blue means that it's for sale, dark red means it's for sale and I own it. Okay, so all the light blue parcels are the ones on the marketplace. You can buy these by just kind of putting your cursor over it. You can see the price, 444,000 MANA, and you can just click into it and click buy if you want to buy the parcel. These purple areas are called districts. These are communities that have committed to build out these districts into these particular topics. So virtual reality shopping center, crypto valley, what's this one, engineering park, etc., etc. There's about 55 different districts, each with its unique whatever they want to build. Okay, just a really quick go through of that. So this map, let me put myself in this corner. This map, okay, this is the whole world. So there's about, if you look at the coordinates in the far extreme right, you're going to see 150. Okay, kind of go to the extreme right. What is it? 150. If I can find myself, there we go. 150. 54. So in the far right it's 150, the far left it's minus 150 is a coordinate, so in this corner it's minus 150. So from here to here it's 300 pixels or parcels wide. So if you do the math, the whole world is about 300 by 300 pixels. Okay, and if you take out the pixels of districts and Genesis plazas and roads, or the parcels that cannot be owned or bought, so the parcels or the land parcels themselves that can be owned and built on privately, they amount to about 35,000. So there's about 35,000 lands in circulation. You can buy, hold, sell, etc., etc. And these first, so this map or this world, the auction for each parcel in this world was held sometime late last year. Okay, so back then you could buy any of these parcels and compete with other people that also wanted the same parcel, and it was kind of like a bit of a bidding war. So I'm going to put myself over here again, and you can see this parcel sold for a price of 1,031 MANA. this parcel sold for, again, 1031 mana. Okay, so this one sold for 1600 mana. The ones closer to the roads sold for 5000 mana. The ones closer to the center, so if you're on the road and you're closer to the center, say something like this, it's going to be a lot more valuable. So this one sold at auction for 82,000 mana. Okay, so this is sometime back late last year. So if you go around the world, you can kind of see the valuations, and this is 8 months ago, so you know that this was from the auction. So other parcels will have a bit of history attached to them. So if you click on maybe this one, no, not that one, maybe this one, nope, not that one either, this one. Okay, oh, here we go. So this one 8 months ago at auction sold for 11,000 mana. Then 4 months ago, it was sold for 68,000 mana. Okay, so there's the first price that you see, that was the auction price. That's what it initially sold for. The first person that bought it, that's how much price he paid during the auction. Back when there wasn't this much interest in Decentraland, there was a lot of interest, but there wasn't this much interest. Now there's a lot more interest, so obviously lands are worth a lot more. Okay, so if you go around the map, especially as a new investor, it's important to see which roads are valuable, which parcels or lands are valuable, why they're valuable. The closer you get to the center, the more valuable they're going to be. These green boxes are referred to as Genesis plazas. It's commonly known that the center Genesis plaza, there's about 9 of them, as you can see around the map. The center one is going to be probably the most trafficked, the most popular plaza. And that's why anything in close proximity to this plaza is more valuable. Okay, I'm going to explain what you can actually build on these parcels later on. I'm just going to go through the map and just a brief overview of valuations. So the closer you get to this Genesis Plaza, the more expensive you can expect parcels to be. The most expensive parcel is probably this one, or the ones, you know, something like that, 381,000 mana. It was sold again for 300,000 mana 3 months ago. So the guy that sold it took a bit of a loss. This one, 381,000 mana. What about this one here in the corner? Yeah, that's a road. It's 596,000 mana. So anything close to this Genesis Plaza, what about this one? 150,000 mana. And the cheapest I've seen lands sell that are connected to this Genesis Plaza has been about 250 to about 400,000 mana. That's after the auction. Okay, now it takes some time to understand what's valuable and why, and that's more for a different blog post. So I'm gonna kind of just put a link below and check out my blog, guys. Like my blog, dclblogger.com. I go through a lot of information, bit about me. I have bought and sold literally hundreds of lands in Decentraland. So I know the valuation, I know why they're worth that much. And I kind of go across some of my land flips, why I paid that much. I go through why I invest, some of the stuff going on in Decentraland, etc, etc. So if you want more information, go to dclblogger.com. Sometimes I even go through like valuations, so market analysis, and I go through the whole map, what's worth what and why there is, you know, like where you should buy and kind of the average price of different parcels. Anyway, again, focusing on new investors. So yeah, this world is built out, and now what's happened is there's a bunch of people that own land, the first investors that first invested in during the auction, right? And they were these gray pixels over here. Then people like me came in, which was sometime in January. I just missed the auction, kind of found out about the project a bit late, but still significantly early. But in terms of the auction, I had missed the ICO, I had missed the auction, kind of looked into the project, was blown away by what it could do, and straight away got buying parcels. So before this page existed, the only way you could buy these lands was to find people in the Discord chats. Let me open up Discord real quick. You could find people in Discord chats, and you literally had to private message them and be like, hey, are you selling any land? And then they would send you a map with, you know, little colorings of where they owned what parcels. And then I had to negotiate through that private chat and do a manual transfer of assets. So they would send me land and I would send them the mana, or in most of the cases it would be the opposite. So I would send them like 5,000 mana, and I would have to trust them to send the land to me. And that's how transfers happen. Back then I bought like 30-40 lands doing it that way. And you could imagine like there was a lot of risk attached to that. So people were happy to sell their lands for 3,000 to 4,000 mana, because for them it was, you know, 3x on their investment, really quick 3x. And for me, I'm like, all right, well, I can buy these lands for 3,000 mana, 3 to 4,000 mana. Mana's trading at about 10 cents, so that's like $300 for a parcel. I don't mind buying a few of these, you know, under $500 for a parcel of something that could be a really big thing. So for me back then, it was a bit of a no-brainer. But then I realized I could sell them again, and this parcel that I was buying for 3,000 mana, I could sell the same parcel for about 7,000 to 8,000 mana. That's when I started wheeling and dealing and literally built a big portfolio from just starting off with like, I don't know, 100 to 200,000 mana back then. But anyway, so that's what existed back then. This page wasn't here, so it wasn't this easy to buy land. Then what happened was sometime early this year, they released this marketplace, and people started to list their land, and everyone started to get a good idea of what parcels are worth what. And it's important to understand that just because lands are listed for certain prices, like this one's listed for 189,000, the ones next to it, again, it's like 1/3 of the price almost. So it's important to go to nonfungible.com, built by one of the community members, and track these land sales. So over the course of 24 hours, there has been 22 lands that have sold, and you can see let me add image. So you can see where they have sold, for what price it sold for, USD and amount, the time it was sold for. You kind of click into it, you can get further details as to the addresses of the buyer and seller. You can even look at the history and see that this was sold 3 times over the course of the last 8 months, okay? And if you follow this, nonfungible.com, and you keep an eye on what people are actually paying for parcels, over time you'll get an idea of which areas are worth what. And this is something that builds onto your intuition, and it's really important to do, especially if you're going to be a long-time investor or a flipper, someone that flips land or anything got to do with investing into Decentraland land, really. So that's a bit of overview of Decentraland and the valuations, etc., etc. Now, what can you do with your parcel? Why are people even paying money for these things? Okay, these parcels, at the end of the day, guys, you have to remember, Decentraland or crypto coins in general is available to pretty much everyone in the world. So the values of crypto tokens like, say, Neo or Ethereum is really determined by the market. People are willing to buy it at a certain price, and if people are willing to buy Ethereum for thousands of dollars for one Ethereum, well, then people will sell it for $1,000. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, we have an IKEA here in Australia, and there's a big thing a few years ago, a couple of years ago, where the prices that we were getting sold products in IKEA was a lot more expensive to other countries. And the only reason IKEA prices their products more expensive in Australia is because people are willing to pay that much, right? And this is basic economics. At the end of the day, markets kind of find an equilibrium, and at the end of the day, these valuations are determined by what people are willing to pay and what people are willing to sell it at. So if you're someone that's like, I'm not going to spend any more than $50, these are not worth more than $50 to me, well, you may never get a parcel because these may never come down to $50, because simply put, the cheapest parcel is like $1,000. So why would a seller sell it to you for anything less than $500? Unless it's a mistake and he wants to cash out really badly, which really, really happens. So people are probably asking why these parcels are worth thousands of dollars. Well, because there's people around the world that want to have fun, or people that want to develop their land, or people that give value to these that are worth, they want to pay, they don't mind paying thousands of dollars for their parcels, right? Now, what can you actually build onto your world or onto your parcel? So each parcel is 10 by 10 meters in virtual reality. So 10 meters wide, 10 meters in length, which is kind of like an average bedroom is like 4 by 4 meters. So you can imagine it's like 4 to 5 times bedroom, okay? And that's about, 10 by 10 meters. And you can build about 20 meters high. Now, the more lands you have connected to each other, for example, like these 5 parcels here, these allow me to build higher, okay? Then there's a logarithmic formula that you use to determine the max height based on the number of parcels that you have adjacent to each other. So I've got 5 parcels adjacent to each other, so I think I can build something like 30 meters or something like that in height. And some lands, are really, really big. So you've got estates, so you've got these larger parcels over here that people have joined together. So this is owned by one person, and he's got like I don't know how to see how many parcels are in this estate, but it's probably like what 6 by 3. Geez, I'm lagging a lot. 7 by I don't know 10, 7 by 10, 7 by 11. So that's like 77 or 80 parcels. That gives him a build height of something like 120 meters or something like that. So there's a lot of value in buying connected parcels. Okay, now what can you actually build? Well, really, the world is your oyster. You can build whatever virtual reality building tools allow you to build. And a really good Twitter account to follow is Chris, ACL_crypto. And he builds a lot of things offline. So you can't actually import things onto the Decentraland world at the moment. Or actually, I think you can, but you can't. Like, Decentraland isn't open, so you can't explore that at the moment. So like people are building things offline, and when the world opens, like a lot of these things you can explore. So you can see like what Chris has built. You can go through some of the stuff that you can do. You know, at the moment people are just experimenting with games, with different features, some really cool things. Like I personally find this really interesting. This is one of his earlier builds. Oh, sorry, this is another one. So another reason why I'll go through this later. Let's go back to the first topic. So one of the really cool things that blew me away with some of the possibilities of virtual reality was this, right? So this is one of Chris's earlier builds. It was kind of streaming channels straight onto this place in Decentraland, in his mansion that he built. So imagine like connecting up with friends from overseas, coming and watching like this game, or you know, something live, or like a movie or something, and you can talk to each other and you live in different parts of the world. Really interesting, some of the stuff that you can do. And like other games, so this is Ethereum that have come on board and partnered with Decentraland and are building their game battling feature on Decentraland. So after Ethereum, there's like multiple dApps that have come on board and have kind of connected up with Decentraland and wanted to build part of their game in virtual reality. So I think Axie Infinity came on board. There's Crypto Cars at the moment. There's like 4 or 5, and Decentraland are making a big effort in bringing on board really good quality game developers, because this is starting to become a place where you can build and access games and experience these games in virtual reality, right? So some really cool things going on. So there's that. You know, people are buying it and building things for different purposes. Obviously, you have 55 districts that are dedicated to building what their district is dedicated to build. So you've got one really interesting district is the Crypto Valley. So these guys want to build like a virtual reality Silicon Valley where you can go on, you know, you can pitch your ICO, you can pitch your products to potential investors, you can do business meetings, etc. You can conduct these things on the Crypto Valley. You've got Ethereum project, which are trying to be something like Ready Player One. It's a massive district, big project, and they're really capable. Some of the skills that the team has. And I'm going to release a really this week sometime. I'm going to be releasing like a question and answer type thing for some of these district leaders, so you can see what they're up to. So it's just a lot of interesting stuff, and a lot of people kind of invest in tech. Some people invest in things that are fun. Some people invest just because they have a lot of money. At the end of the day, like, this may not be the investment for you, because the crypto world is a high risk, high reward world at the moment. Everything is quite speculative, and there's so many barriers that the whole crypto community has to go through and push forward and solve. Ethereum has scaling problems. Governments, we still don't know where governments stand with allowing, blockchain technology, or what parts of blockchain technology they are allowing and what they're not allowing. Obviously has a big user case, but tech is not just one thing that you should look for as an investor. You should look at the size of the community, the excitement in the community. Sometimes things are just fun to be a part of, and people are willing to spend thousands of dollars because of that. I know a lot of investors are mature investors, and they look specifically for tech and how things can change the world. But you can't avoid the fact that games is a big industry. Like, people love gaming and building things. Like, Minecraft is massive, right? So, like, why are lands selling for thousands of dollars? Because eventually you will be able to go into these worlds and build whatever you want in your parcel, and specific parcels are being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're closer to Genesis Plaza. So something that sells for say 500,000 mana, in today's price, that's what's that? 500,000 times 0.1, 50,000 US dollars. Some parcels sell for 1,000,000 manas, which is like 100,000 US dollars, right? And that's because they're really close to these Genesis plazas. So you normally find land that is close to Genesis plazas, close to certain districts, sell for a lot of mana because people expect there to be a lot of traffic in those areas. So a lot of people, you can fly in the world, you can walk in the world, you can do whatever you want. So imagine like a lot of people kind of checking out the main district here. So if you have, say, a business selling, I don't know, say you have like model, say your Ferrari, okay, hypothetically your Ferrari, and you've got like this kind of Ferrari showroom where you can go and look into Ferrari cars and see what they do. You can kind of move it around, you can open up the boot, etc., etc. They try and make it as realistic as possible. Then you would obviously want to have a parcel or a block of land that's big and close to like a lot of traffic. So people like that may be willing to spend a lot of money to have it in these particular locations. So again, like valuation depends on what people are willing to spend, traffic, and a lot of other factors. And it's just something that you kind of gain the intuition for over time. I hope I'm not rubbing against this microphone. But yeah, like I definitely advise you guys to come check it out. Again, there is risks involved in this venture. I did say I'm going to be looking at this from a critic's point of view. Like there's virtual reality is fairly new. I mean, like in terms of it being new, I mean, like it's, you know, technology that's been around for years, but the capabilities of it and harnessing it in a way that's fun and usable and all that, it's kind of still in the kind of semi-adoption phase. Like there's still a lot of people that haven't experienced virtual reality at all. They don't know what it is, they've heard of it, they don't know what it looks like. There's still a lot of stuff coming out of virtual reality, augmented reality, like these kind of things that play with your senses and provide like a world where you can kind of go into and like are pretty awesome. I haven't really been adopted that yet. So these guys are obviously kind of pushing, solving blockchain technology issues, scaling issues, still finding a place for, they're still trying to figure out if there is a need for all this kind of stuff and how this is going to go. Like obviously the world has not been released yet, so we still don't know how the community is going to react. Is it going to be as fun as people think it's going to be? Is it going to be a letdown? There has been this, I think this Genesis Plaza has been built, and if you go on the blog, like the Decentraland blog, you can see that you can kind of explore this Genesis Plaza, which is 20 by 20 meters wide, which is like 400 meters in, you know, square meters, and you can kind of see the scale of it. It's a massive, massive world just in this area. Like it's a massive area in this world, sorry. And if 400 meters is like 1/200th of, like there's 200 of these that can fit into the whole world of Decentraland. It's give you a scale of just how big this place is going to be when it releases. It's a good idea to go on the Decentraland blog and check out this little build that they've done. So yeah, again, from a critic's point of view, there's a lot of things that we need to nut out and fix, or Decentraland needs to kind of find solutions for. But that's what's, you know, people coming together to find solutions is what eventually builds a great product. So it's going to be interesting to see how this world is going to go. At the end of the year, it's going to open, so you can kind of go in and explore the world then. But again, for new investors, my advice would be to learn, check out non-fungible, keep a very close eye on nonfungible.com, check out the Decentraland blog, follow the Twitter accounts of people that are building in Decentraland. So Chris from ACL Crypto, follow my Twitter account as well, where I consistently tweet about like some of the parcels that I've sold. You know, this one was a quick flip. So in the course of 3 days, 22,000 mana was made in profit. You can see this person bought it for 22,000 mana, sold it for 44,000 mana, which is about 22,000 mana profit, right? Which is about 7 Ethereum. Decent money. And why that happened, etc. Like I tweet about all this kind of stuff. So it's good to just keep connected to people within the community, and also come to Discord, ask questions. If you want to invest in certain lands, put it on the, you know, land trading chat and get some opinions about it. We can tell you if it's worth it, if it's not, and also my blog. Obviously, make sure you join the keep an eye on my blog. I put this on YouTube. It's a YouTube video. I blog about it, so make sure you keep connected to this if you want to learn more about Decentraland. There's a lot of progress being made, guys. Like there's so many communities working together to build this world. It's not just like one team of people. It's so many teams of people that are individually building things. So it's going to be really exciting next year when the whole world is out for a whole year, how at the end of the day this world is going to look. And in terms of buying a parcel, my advice would be to kind of stay away from really expensive parcels, because the valuations of those, like if you say hypothetically you buy this for 8 million, I think it's currently the cheapest. No, this one's cheapest. I think 5 million, which is the most cheapest connected one to Genesis Plaza. Hypothetically saying you buy this for 5 million mana, just because currently it's the cheapest doesn't necessarily mean it's a good deal, because historically there has been some lands that have sold connected to Genesis Plaza for only like 500,000 mana or even 250,000 mana. So it's important to just keep an eye on things for a while and start with the cheaper parcels. So go to the marketplace, order this by the cheapest, and look for a parcel that is either connected to a single road in between some districts. So parcels that are, okay, where are we? Parcels that are either connected to a single road, they seem to have more value than parcels that are not connected to single roads, because at this stage they're guaranteed traffic. We still don't know how much, how flying is going to be, the feature of flying is going to be. Like, can you fly over other people's parcels? What can you do? We still don't know exactly the details of that. So people are willing to pay a little bit more for single road parcels. That's why if you order by the cheapest, you're not really going to see any parcels that are connected to single roads. There are parcels that are close to districts that are also hold some value. So either buy a parcel that's connected to a single road or buy a parcel that is in between some districts. So say something like here, if you can find a parcel in between these districts, the north, let me move myself again. These areas here, like the north, the east, and the west, there's a lot of activity going on over there. There's so many districts. This area here is kind of an empty open land. That's why you see a lot of unowned parcels in these areas. There's still going to be an auction at some time in the future for people to buy these unowned lands, but you can probably imagine they're going to go for quite more expensive now, because there's a lot more eyeballs on Decentraland, frankly put. So you can take some time understanding the market and jump in, like just buy a parcel. Yes, it's expensive at the moment, but in terms of fiat value, I've just seen the value just continuously increase. Like the cheapest one you can buy is not that far down from $1,000 US, but back in the day, like the cheapest one you can buy, on page like 10, 20, 30, say a month ago or 2 months ago, would have been like $500 US, so maybe $800 US. And then before that, like another 3 months before that, it would have been like $300 to $400 US. So in terms of fiat, I have seen consistently the price of Decentraland parcels continue to increase. So yeah, I hope you guys have learned a lot in this video, learning about Decentraland, and I hope this equips you with some tools to kind of make better decisions, whether you want to invest or you don't want to invest. At least now you know where the value comes from for Decentraland.